Shalom, Yasharallah. First and foremost, I want to say all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rakha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the house of David. Salutations to you, brothers throughout the four corners of the earth, teaching the truth in righteousness and sincerity. To you, Israelite foreigners, come back home to the truth. To those that passed on, serving the Lord, the dead in Yahweh Shai shall arise first. To you sisters who believe, keep encouraging and supporting your brothers out here teaching the truth, and always commemorate the sister who washed Yahweh Shai feet when you read the scriptures. I wanted to talk about something. I know everybody's gonna, well, the alphabet community is gonna say that this video is anti them, but the truth of the matter is, the terminology that y'all use is incorrect. And what do I say that? Gay marriage, right? There is no possible way a man and a man or a woman and a woman can be naturally married. And what does that mean? Marriage, the term marriage means a bonding, means coming together. A man, I hate to sound crass, but ejaculating in a woman is part of it, is the process that you see and you feel, right? You get the pleasure, whatever. But the part of the process that you don't see is the marriage, the DNA altering to bring two people physically and spiritually together. That's why we don't take sex lightly. Who you have sex with, who your partner is. Marriage can only occur when there's a bonding process. There's no bonding process in same-sex sex. There's none. You're ejaculating in a keister. That's not a marriage. That's not a bonding. And that's why we call that perversion. And the same thing with women. What are you marrying with? What is being, I hate to say, shot into you? And I have a biological cousin who's married to a woman, female, lesbian. I have a cousin who's a lesbian, and she just had twins. But the problem is, the twins' father is some nigga who ejaculated in a cup. Well, I don't know if it's a nigga. Could be a cracker. But whatever, whoever it is ejaculated in the cup. That child does not know its parents. It just has it has one pretend parent. So my cousin was the one who obviously got knocked up. So it was a sperm from somebody who she has no knowledge of. She probably doesn't know anything about the person. So when the question comes up of the child's family history for medical purposes, nobody's going to know the answer to anything from the father's side of the family. So we don't know what type of genetics, maybe genetic curses or blessings this child has. So that's going to cause problems. Another problem that I have with the concept of gay marriage isn't just the word marriage. If a man gets married to a man, both of them are called a husband. But the problem is, the entire process of marriage it mirrors farming. Another word for a farmer is a husbandman, right? So a farmer plants seeds and grows crops. So the same way a husband is supposed to be able to plant seed and grow children. If you have two men that are the supposed husbands, right? And I don't like to sound crass here, but a man's rod is kind of like the equipment that you use to farm with and to put seed in the ground, right? What comes out of that seed? If the seed is being basically ejaculated into a human keister. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be nasty, but I'm speaking in literal terms, right? Because the term husband comes from basically a farmer, like I said, husbandman. A man cannot be a man's husband because a man cannot get a man pregnant. So the entire alphabet community is, and this is the biggest problem. A lot of y'all say, "Oh, it shouldn't matter what you shouldn't be worried about who lays down with who and all that shit," which is true. I don't worry about it. I worry about it when y'all start changing concepts and changing things that we deal with and have been doing so for over 6,000 years of human existence. We've been doing this over 6,000 years, you know, man with woman. And then y'all come in here and use the same term. Listen, for Babylonian purposes, we can't do to you what the Bible says, you know, because Babylon's law is, you know, you leave them alone. And that's cool. The Bible also doesn't say to now in this modern time to do to you what we used to do to you in the old days, right? The punishment for being a sodomite is going to come from God directly. It's not something man can do. But if we have to accept, or maybe not accept, but ignore you, right? Ignore what y'all do. What y'all should also do out of respect for the greater society. They didn't do this because they're evil. But what they should have done is don't call it marriage. Call it something else. You know, don't call your gay man your husband. Because there's no fertile earth, metaphorically, that is present. You know, there's only a man and a man, you know, and they're, you know, planting seed in basically a barren place. And I'm really trying to keep it as PG as possible, you know, and keep it also intellectual, because this is not an emotional hatred for you know, anybody in the alphabet community. This is practical explanations of the terminology that we use and why we use them. Matter of fact, I don't even I got to look up again what wife means. Definitely husband is synonymous with farming, right? But let's take a look at wife. From English, wife, woman, female, lady, right? So a man cannot be a wife. Also, but not especially wife, from Proto-Germanic wifa, source also of Old Saxon and Old Frisian, Old Norse vif, Danish and Swedish viv. You notice the further back you go in the language, it gets closer to Eve. So Middle High German wipe, woman, female person, woman of gentle birth. So all of this, a man cannot be a wife. Wife is more about the gender. Husband is a profession. I'm going to go to husband. Old English, husbonda, male head of a household, master of a house, householder, probably from Old Norse, husbandai, master of the house, literally house dweller. From hus, house, see house, bondi, house holder, dweller, freeholder, peasant. From buandi, present participle of bua, to dwell. Slang shortening hubby is attested by the 1680s. It replaced Old English were as married man. Right? But now I'm gonna tell y'all something. Husbandmen. Husbandman. Here we go. Let's get some history here. 1300th century. Head of a family. Early 14th century as farmer or tiller of soil. So you cannot be a husband and have a husband. That's impossible. Because what are you growing? You're not growing anything. You're not farming anything. You're not raising children that are biologically both of yours, part of your wedding, your seed, right? So anyway, with that, I hope that the point was made. I know that a lot of y'all that do watch this page notice that I pay a lot of attention to words. I think we should all pay close attention to words, because in the words lie the details of why certain things that are now new concepts, like gay marriage, like a man calling a man a husband, a woman calling a woman a wife, are unnatural and wrong. It's wrong. What's that word we use? Semantically. You know, because if anything, just use a different word. You know, you're a woman that's married to a woman. Find something other than wife to call her, because she's not your wife. You're not a husband, you know. But with that, I'm going to say shalom.